Militarily Speaking, episode 83, Vets2Industry.
This episode, we talk with Carmen White, Chief Operating Officer and board member with Vets2Industry.
Welcome to Militarily Speaking, brought to you by Armed Forces Bank. This is Tom McLean and Jodi Vickery. I'm the military retail exec, and Jodi is our Chief Digital Officer.
Welcome to our show. We're really excited to have our audience learning and listening all about our guest, Carmen White, and the role that you play with Vets2Industry. I am going to take just a second, Carmen, and share your bio with our audience. So hang on tight. This should all not be new information for you, but it will be perhaps new to our audience. So Carmen's the Chief Operating Officer of Vets2Industry, a 501c3 nonprofit organization committed to establishing connections, sharing knowledge, and identifying opportunities for veterans and their families. In her role, she oversees daily operations, ensuring efficiency and impactful service delivery to clients, partners, and sponsors. Carmen is a former commissioned officer in the United States Air Force. Thank you for your service, where she served as a personnel officer, leading various personnel sections and developing training curricula for major weapon systems programs. She also held the distinguished position of Commandant of Cadets at North Carolina A&T State University, shaping future leaders through rigorous leadership development programs. Following that military service, she transitioned into a dynamic career in human resources, management, and entrepreneurship. She founded and operated Perfect Pens Workforce Solutions and Publishing Company. And
I want to find out more about that later.
Yes. I'm sure you will. An HR consulting and publishing firm, and she's currently the owner of JEH Publishing Group. Her professional experience includes serving as an HR consultant for the Office of Personnel Management and as the Mid-Atlantic Area Manager for Hire Heroes USA, where she played a pivotal role in successfully transitioning nearly 1,000 service members, veterans, and spouses into civilian careers. And she also managed a team of transition specialists covering multiple states, including North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, Washington, D.C., and the Northeast region. Got the Eastern Seaboard covered almost, yeah. Her extensive background in workforce development, career coaching, and organizational strategy has enabled her to build and implement effective programs across diverse industries, and her leadership within Vets2Industry earned her the Volunteer Director of the Year award while serving as Human Resources Manager. Congratulations.
Yeah.
She holds an MBA, master's degree in education, and multiple professional certifications, including Human Resources Management, Global Career Development Facilitator, Certified Professional Resume Writer, Certified Career Services Provider, and a paralegal certificate.
Do you think I can take her credentials and add them to my resume?
You could put them on your LinkedIn, and then I'll start commenting on that to call you out for it being false.
Why do you keep going off on tangents like that? All right, keep going.
I know. There's a lot to tell here. She also attended North Carolina Central University School of Law. Dedicated to community service, she's an active member of the Triangle Professional Women's Association and the National Career Development Association. She also volunteers with Dress for Success Triangle and is a passionate advocate for women's veterans issues, having served as an executive board member for Military Women's Collective and an advisor to the Transition Tribe. Above all, she considers her greatest role to be the mother to the best son in the world, and in her personal time, which I imagine
that's a little biased, don't you think?
Well, yeah. I mean, all moms are supposed to say that, though, right? Yeah.
You have the second best son in the world, Jodi.
No, in case he ever listens to this, he is also the best son.
And that'll be your first.
Yeah. In her personal time, she also enjoys traveling with her family, singing, and playing the piano, which is awesome.
So
you don't hear about very many people playing the piano anymore.
Yeah, but I want to hear some singing. Do you want to hear some singing or not? Do you think she'll do that for us? Let's act like she's not here. I played the piano as a kid, and I did a recital. It was a song called "The Astronaut."
Chopsticks.
I did start to learn drums, with that little pad.
Yeah.
I didn't graduate from the pad.
There's a reason. There's a reason. So short of hearing all about Tom's musical escapades.
And she'll sing later. Okay.
Yeah, Carmen will close us out with a song. Welcome, Carmen. It's an honor to have you on the show. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for putting up with Tom in advance. I'd love to have you start by just telling our audience a little bit about Vets2Industry, at least at a big picture level, and then we have all kinds of questions for you today.
Absolutely. I love talking about Vets2Industry. Like, as a former volunteer, now I get to be one of the first employees. I can talk about Vets2Industry all day. But the main thing about Vets2Industry is that you already know our mission because you read it, but we really want to be a force multiplier with other organizations. And what that means is, as we lead people to our site to go through all those resources that we vet and put on there for service members and veterans and spouses to use, we want to make sure that we're working together with those organizations who place their resources in our hands to share. We believe that we're stronger together, and Vets2Industry's goal is just to be that one-stop shop that eliminates confusion of, okay, what do I do next? What resource do I need now? Because there's so many, but then what do you do with them when you get them? So that's what we really want to help to do.
Yeah, no, that's a very value add service. There are the cool thing is there are a lot of resources. There are a lot of organizations that want to help. The difficult thing then becomes, how do you navigate them? Which ones can you use together? And so that's great that y'all are trying to put a bow on that and bring it all together.
Absolutely.
You want to talk, Carmen, you want to talk more about how you got directly involved? Did you get recruited? Did you find the organization on your own? How did you, after volunteering, I guess, then you volunteered so well that they extended an offer to you? Is that how you got involved? How did you get involved from the start?
It's like, this story, it makes it like it was meant to be, like one of those stories that was meant to be. So the founder, I say former because he's moved on to better things in his career, but he reached out to me on LinkedIn one day to say, hey, there's something on your website. When I was working for Hire Heroes USA, he said, there's something on the website that's incorrect. I thought you might, want to know that so you could correct it. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. You're right. I went and looked at it and it was incorrect, and I was able to share that. And then he was like, hey, I looked at your background. We have a few grassroots volunteers. We meet every week to help the community. If you're interested, here's the link. Please join us. And so I didn't join. I think it was maybe like 3 weeks before I joined. And when I joined, it was about 6 volunteers on there. And what attracted me is they were like, okay, there's this veteran and they need help with X, Y, and Z. Who can do this? And then there's another veteran. He just reached out to us and this is how things are going. Who can follow up? It was very just, impersonal, but they were called to action. And I was like, okay, I can do this. And every week the attendance seemed to grow. There were more volunteers who wanted to help. There were more people who needed help. And then they started giving out roles. And I somehow became the human resources director. I was volunteered, hey, this is your background. You have this HR certificate. You do this. And I was like, okay. So I kind of built up that department. We built up volunteers and the rest is history. So we just really grew. We grew from having that one in-person, well, it was supposed to be in-person event, but because of COVID, it turned into a virtual event. And then that took off. And that's how people really started to know our name. Well, in the background, I was just building up volunteers who wanted to pursue HR as a career, but didn't have those real life skills. So we actually did things like payroll at the time, the company had a few part-time employees. So we did payroll for those employees. We did training, and I was helping those volunteers with the systems that we used and giving them that HR inside information so they could pursue careers. And that's really how it started. All of the departments began doing that. And so not only did we become this hub where people could go for resources and then that networking, it became a place where volunteers could come and give their skills and put it on their resume and put it to real life use. It just became its own machine. And so coming forward to today, when they were able to get funding from this wonderful organization called Signal Health Group, they brought on the founder as a full-time employee. And then he asked me if I would come on and help with operations because I knew all about the organization. So it was like a fairy tale. It was meant to be.
You talk about Brian Arrington, right? He was the founder. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
An Air Force veteran. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a good story. It's good when you just feel like it's the right thing, right? You just know you're in the right place.
We're going to have to keep going back to karma, right?
I know. Because her name's Carmen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that alliteration or something else?
No, I don't know.
Okay, good.
Did I already apologize for him? I think I did.
No. Carmen's thrilled to be here.
She is. I want to dig into some of the things that you see as you're working with veterans and service members a little bit. I think we've got a handful of questions to ask you about that for sure. But I think, there's a plethora of resources on the website. But what are some of the biggest challenges that you see with transitioning service members? What are they knocking on the door the most for help with? And how does Vets2Industry bridge that gap?
That's a great question. And we see this day in and day out as we work with people. And it was one of the things that I found also in my transition, but I didn't know it right away. But just help with, I think the number one thing is finding someone that they can talk to who knows the path. That's the number one thing. They all feel like they're in it alone. They have to take this journey. They don't know what to do. They don't know who to talk to, and they feel isolated. So the first thing is say, oh no, you're not alone. Not only do you have access to people who've done this before you, who want to help, but you have access to all of these resources. And then we can say, okay, and this is how we're going to tackle this. But that's the number one thing, just being alone and not knowing what to do. And for some people, it's overwhelming. Some people, not so much. They might have a plan already and, they're ready to execute their plan. But most people just not knowing and feeling alone in the process.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I remember when my husband transitioned out, he served 20 years in the Army, in the active Army, and it was overwhelming, and it felt like you were being asked to make choices that you couldn't undo later. They were like, you have to make it right now. And they bounced you from like desk to desk in the out processing center, right? Yeah. And you had to decide. And hopefully we picked right. Well, I guess time will tell.
But he probably didn't have any people in his camp, if you will, that would give him tutelage guidance, or he was kind of going on a wing and a prayer a little bit.
Yeah. Did the best we could. We'll see.
We all seem to do that, though, to be honest. Yeah. And that's one thing we want to change. I know when I got out, I knew I was going to be a stay-at-home mom for a while. So even though I had a resume, I had that first master's degree, I didn't care about any of that. I was like, I'm going to be a mother, la, la, la. Don't talk to me about networking. Don't talk to me about the resume. I don't really care. But when it came time and I needed to care, I was in a really bad place because I underestimated how the process would be. Yeah. So, I think we all feel that way.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It is nice to see a lot of these transitioning resources out there too. I think career transitioning seems to be a hot topic these days. It's been around for a long time, but whether it's Hiring Our Heroes or Military Spouse Employment Partnership, there's just organizations that are in abundance out there that are there. It's nice that you put all under one roof to get people to you and help make it easy for them. But there's a lot of job seeking options out there, and your website is vets2industry.org. So how do you get postings out there, or do partners supply them with you, or do you seek them out so you make them available when you sort of hunt and peck a little bit around the industry to see what's available for vets?
We do all those things. So we are always on a hunt to research the best resources for veterans. We have an extensive vetting process that we go through to make sure that the services that we add aren't predatory to the community, that they're not going to harm them in any way, and that they are beneficial. We do also have on our website, we ask for people to submit resources for us to vet. So we do it in a number of ways. Because there's so many, like you said, we'll probably never gather them all, but we're going to try.
At least people know that if they come to your website, there's been somebody that's kind of given them a once over to make sure that it's above
seal
board.
Of approval, if you will.
Yeah. Because that step by itself could be overwhelming and time consuming for sure. I noticed on your website too, you have a mentor program, and I've been a part of mentor programs off and on over my career. And one of the things when somebody asks you to be a mentor, you always you want to do it, but then you're like, well, that might sound like a big time commitment. I'm not sure, I want to give it my all. Talk about that program. You've made it super easy, it looks like, to sign up on your site, but could you talk about what are the expectations for mentors? We probably have people listening in our audience that would be really well suited to do that kind of thing. But what would their expectations be if they were to take that leap?
Absolutely. So that program is called Post-Veterati, and we support it. It's a standalone program. If you remember Veterati that closed, unfortunately, about a year ago, a lot of Vets2Industry volunteers, we were also volunteer mentors with Veterati because they had the established program, and we just found that we worked well together. So when the platform closed, our sponsor also generously wanted to bring that program back because they saw how beneficial it was for the community. Like, we were really inwardly, we were so crushed. We were like, what are we going to do? Veterati is going. Like, that's the place where we mentor. So they brought it back as Post Veterati, and it is still a standalone platform. We just support it. We support the operations. So it's easy to sign up. You just go to that site. It's attached to our website, but it's also a standalone postveterati.org, and you can register to be a mentor or a mentee. And the platform literally is identical to the old Veterati system. You register, you get to put in your own availability. So you set the hours that you are available for the mentee. Like, they can't schedule a time unless the mentor made it available. So that puts that limit. So it's not overwhelming for the mentor or the mentee. And just expectations that we have, because we also vet mentors. We are looking for people who just want to give back. So if you are a veteran or a military spouse who wants to give back, pay it forward, share knowledge, then you will make the perfect mentor for us. Well, for Post Veterati.
Yes.
But are there specific areas maybe that you might have a gap right now, or you're looking for more people to be mentors so they can fill that unmet need?
Absolutely. We do look for mentors in all industries. We want to have all those covered. I won't necessarily say there are gaps because we don't look at it like that. We open up this platform to make it available for people to come and serve or take advantage of as they need to. So we have an opening for every industry because we want mentors who sign up to have access to that knowledge for people in all career fields. So it's a call for all career fields, all industries, all experience, background. Those who want to give back and have that knowledge and time too, we welcome them to the platform.
So beyond transitioning service members, are there specific programs you have for spouses through Vets2Industry or caregivers, if that happens to be someone that comes to you?
That is such a great question. I can't say too much right now about our new program that we have kicking off.
Uh-oh.
As a military spouse, I understand how unpredictable life can be. Whether it's a PCS move or just everyday expenses, money can be tight. That's why it's so important to have a checking account that works for you.
Armed Forces Bank offers our Access Freedom checking accounts designed with military families in mind. If you're looking for no monthly fees, early military pay, and no fee access to over 38,000 ATMs nationwide, we've got you covered. Plus, with our user-friendly mobile app, managing your money is a breeze, no matter where you're stationed.
And with about 75% of our team affiliated with the military, Armed Forces Bank really understands the challenges faced by the military and their families. We've been supporting military families for over 100 years, so you know we'll always have your back.
If you're ready for a checking account that's as flexible as you are, head over to afbank.com or visit a branch near you. Armed Forces Bank, serving those who serve. Member FDIC, $25 opening deposit and e-statements required. Direct deposit required for early military pay. Closing new accounts within 90 days of opening will result in a $25 early closure fee. Message and data rates charged by your mobile phone carrier may apply. We have breaking news.
Yes. You have breaking news, hearing it here first. But we have this program and we called it B2I She Boss. And it's just for our military spouses and our women veterans, just a sneak peek, because when we say we're combining those two demographics, people are like, wait a minute, what? Those are two different, what are you doing? But it's so different and it's so innovative. It's just going to be a program to help veterans and spouses who are interested in entrepreneurship. And we have a dynamic, innovative program. We're going to introduce it this summer. And I cannot wait to share more. I'm so excited. You can see.
I can hear it in your
I'm
voice.
so excited about this program because I always think, oh my gosh, what if this was available when I was coming out? I could have, oh my goodness, it could have helped me so much with my beginning and my budding entrepreneurship. Those things I was trying to do, calling myself an entrepreneur, it could have helped me so much. So I'm very excited about it.
Well, it's very cool though that now you're in a position to pay that forward and help somebody else who's who's embarking on that. You know, we've talked about a few things that we've come across on your website. There's a mountain of stuff out there to be super honest.
Yeah.
A lot of resources. How do people navigate that? How would you help them navigate that? Do they typically come to you with kind of a specific thing that they're trying to figure out, or do they just come to you and say, I have no idea what my questions are.
I'm starting now.
Point me somewhere, anywhere. What do you see being the case most typically?
I think that the number one thing that we get is, hey, we need help. We need resume assistance. We need job interview assistance. And so we always direct, we have a kind of entrance process that we do with people. So if they are just coming in, they see us from our website or word of mouth, they can email us and connect with one of our volunteers who can help them fill those gaps. And so we train them to lead them to the website first so that they can search for all the resources there on the website. But like you said, it's a lot on there, so it can be overwhelming. So we kind of have like a checklist of the top things that they might need at different periods of their transition. And we also, based off of a questionnaire that we have, we also use that to guide them through the right places to go. We're currently innovating our website. So we have a chat bot that's also integrated with our website to help with that process as well. And as AI grows, and it's definitely growing, we want to integrate that more to make that search process even easier. Because like you said, that can be a barrier, and we definitely don't want that to be for people who need help.
Yeah, I do. Now that you say that, I do remember seeing the chatbot out there when we were on the website. Yeah, very cool.
Carmen, you've got some virtual networking events. Is that right?
Yes.
You have to fact check me to make sure that we're right about these things. But so who joins those? Who are the right people to join them? And what should they expect during those events? Frequency and content and follow-up maybe, but just talk a little bit about the virtual networking events.
Absolutely. Those events are specifically for transitioning military members who are currently serving, their spouses, family members, anyone needing assistance in transitioning from their career. So whatever stage that is. And we invite recruiters to come and share jobs. We invite veteran service organizations to come and share their programs and resources. The goal is to network on a more personal level. You know, we recommend, when we say networking, the first thing we do is say you have to be on LinkedIn. If you're searching for a job, you need to be on there. And we say connect with people. But
and make sure you say open to work in your little circle.
Right.
Yeah.
But it can feel so inauthentic on LinkedIn because you connect and then what do you say? You don't know the person. So our networking events kind of eliminate those steps where you have to feel awkward about getting to know one. Like you have an open invitation, our network becomes our attendees network, and they can connect really quickly and in a very natural way. And it's almost as if the recruiters and the veteran service organizations are there saying, hey, we're here. You know, we want to meet you. We want to help you with your needs. And it eliminates the awkwardness that networking on your own can feel. And we know that networking can get employment faster than any resume.
It's who you know sometimes, right? It's who you know.
I used to say this all the time when I was at my other job. When we had openings, I hired people, and if I didn't know who I wanted to hire or we had a lot of people to choose from. My mind went blank. If we had a lot of people to choose from, if people on my team who I already worked with and I already trusted, if they said, hey, I know someone, I used to work with them in the Army, Or I used to work with so-and-so on my last job. I would probably hire them, or I'm definitely going to interview them because they have the trust of someone I already trust. And that's what networking does. So it's important. and that's why those events are so important to us.
Yeah. You think about the people that you think about the people that I've hired here. I mean, it's people that
Either had
either a
worked with them in the
referral
past.
from somebody or
Yeah.
you've worked with them in a prior life somewhere, or take some of the guesswork out of it for sure.
Should I give you a little behind the curtain thing on Tom McLean? So my first
I'm
job,
afraid to say you're going to do it anyway.
my
if they
first
know.
job back in 19 was
What year was that?
19 was because I was a really good tennis player, and I played tennis with the CEO of a bank.
Wow.
I beat him, and next thing you know, I had an interview with the head of HR, and I was hired.
Wow.
I can't tell you that. It was actually a management associate position in a bank for an 18-month program.
Wow. All because you could play
All because
tennis.
I knew the right guy
Did you
and
beat
had
him
a
in
skill.
tennis?
I did. I beat him. Yeah.
So he's a good sport then too.
He knew I was competitive.
Nice. Well done.
That hasn't happened. I'm not competitive today, so I've changed.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
That's the power of networking, though.
It is.
You know, when I was commissioned in the Air Force, my dad said, "Hey, Carmen, you need to join the Officers Club." And I was like, "Dad, what? Why? I don't even." And he was like, "No, you need to join the Officers Club." And then that's really literally all he said. Well, my very first duty station, my boss, I will never forget. I was at my initial meeting with him and I was taking notes on what he wanted me to do. And he said, "Hey, every Friday about 5:30, we all head over to the Officers Club." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Gotta do.
It's that networking time. It's that nobody's talking about work. It's just all about networking. And I literally got one of the assignments that I had later, my special duty assignment. I received that from a relationship that I made at the Officers Club. So it is awesome.
There you go. Yeah. And there's countless stories like that. I gotta tell you, Carmen, that one of the things on the website that I was particularly drawn to as a mom of a college student was the scholarships opportunities as well. I know that when my son started college, I was after him all the time to go, I'm like, there's money out there that never gets claimed. Because nobody applies for it. They don't know. How are you working to spread the word about that part of what you do? Who's eligible typically for the kind of scholarships that y'all share on your website? I'm going to send my son out there too, because he's still got 2 years left.
I love this question because I love scholarships, and we're honestly in the middle of updating our site and how people find those scholarships. But right now, they're for veterans and veteran family members. We have about 110 scholarships on the site right now, and you can find them in 2 ways. You can either do like an overall search and say Vets2Industry scholarships, or you can go straight to the resource page and type in scholarships. But what we're doing currently is we're going through all of those 110 links that we have to number one, make sure they're updated. And then number 2, we're going to categorize them so that people can easily see, okay, is this for veterans? Is this for spouses? Is this for family members? Is it for all? To make it easier for that search. So that's a great question.
I know if it's easy, then my son will.
Right. Exactly.
Got a higher probability of success, we're going to say. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier about Signal, right? Signal Health Group that was gracious enough to support you financially, right?
Yes.
So let's take that a step further. How can people donate, sponsor, get involved? You've got a great story that you told our audience, but what do you recommend that our audience should do if they want to reach out financially or reach out and volunteer?
If they want to donate, they can go to our site at vets2industry.org. That first page, you'll see a donate here tab. I believe they're on every page, but that's the easiest way.
An important
Top, middle,
button.
bottom. Yeah.
Yes. Just follows you around the page.
She's going to integrate the chat feature.
It'd be cool, right? I'm just saying.
Have you looked at this button yet?
Yeah.
And then on this site as well, there's a tab that allows you to go. It says where you can help. And that's where you can sign up to be a Vets2Industry volunteer.
Carmen, is this a real number? Can I throw out a number to you?
Yes.
You educate between 220 and 240,000 transitioning service members annually?
Well, we have to this point since 2019.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you for clarifying that.
absolutely.
Always got to fact check your McLean.
Jodi, I haven't said this in a
I think
while.
that's why I'm here. I think that's why I was put on this earth.
But no, I think you have an attitude problem today.
You love me. You love me.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask, as we kind of wrap up the podcast, I was going to ask, what are the exciting new initiatives coming? But we already got the tease
A little
about She
sneak,
Boss,
right?
and
Sneak peek this summer.
So are there other things besides that have you all excited that are coming soon for Vets2Industry?
Absolutely. So we have our networking conference. Last year we had our very first one. This year we're continuing it. It's going to be at sea. It won't always be at sea, but this year it is from July.
Did you say at sea?
Yeah.
Yes, at
As an
sea.
SEA.
All right. I didn't know if it was the letter. Okay. I'm with you.
July 19th through 20, excuse me. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I forgot the dates. July 19th through 27th will be
Okay.
on board Carnival Horizon for our networking conference. And it's going to be amazing because we're going to be joined by some other veteran service organizations and other military supporters giving small workshops on their
sounds cool.
organizations and on the transition process. So that's coming up. And this week, I don't know when this show will air, but by the time it does, we will have
2028.
Nope.
Yep. No, it's not.
Not that far out.
It'll probably be after this event you're going to describe, but if it's a recurring event, it'll be good to share anyway.
Okay. Well, we're going to be introducing our interim president to everyone.
Wow.
On May 7th. So we're very
A lot of breaking
excited.
news coming out of
That
this
sounds like it's
podcast.
in the next 24 hours.
It
That's
is.
really breaking news. Yeah.
So, Carmen, what have we not thought to ask you about Vets2Industry?
Well, one thing I want to share too is we've introduced some industry specific webinars, and we've started off with the broadband industry. And our focus with that is to, because we say we're Vets2Industry. So what we want to do is we want to introduce our community to different industries that they may not have thought about, but that are seeking veterans to come and make the most of and thrive in. So we're starting off with the broadband industry. We did an opening, just like an introduction of what the broadband industry is. We're going to have a few more sessions where we're breaking it down a little more, kind of comparing it. Okay, this is what you did in the military. This is probably what you can do in a broadband career. And then introduce that with some career fairs along with it. And we want to do that with the few specialized industries that not everyone knows about. You know, the big ones, everybody knows about, IT or HR. But there are other places where veterans can work and thrive. And we're introducing that in our industry-specific webinar series.
Very good. Very good. All kinds of breaking news. All good stuff.
Does she sound pretty passionate
She
about what
does.
she
She
does?
sounds very pumped up about what she does every
Yeah.
day, which is cool.
We're lucky to have her.
Yes. Yes.
Before we get to the military minute,
Yes.
why was it called Perfect Pens?
Oh my goodness.
We have to know, is it a story worth telling, or should we just move on?
Oh yes, it's a story worth telling. Well, okay. Remember earlier when I said I had underestimated what the job search would be
Oh, yeah.
getting out of the military. So when it was time for me to find a job, I needed to pivot a little bit because I was having trouble. I didn't have, what I didn't know at the time was I just didn't have the right resume. I wasn't presenting myself the way I needed to get people to be interested in my skills. So I started a business and I was working with people with editing. Like my friend at the time, she was getting her doctorate degree and she needed help with her dissertation and I helped her. We had like a few sessions and she was like, oh my gosh, Carmen, you're really talented with those pens. And she was telling me I was a good writer. And I was like, hey, I think I could start a business. And I was like thinking of what I could name it and how I could incorporate that name. And I was like, oh, Perfect Pens. That's it.
The story. That's like 2 men in a truck or something, right? It was probably going to be a story like that, and I should have figured it out.
But here we are.
You always say the right thing, Jodi.
I know. So if you're game, Carmen, we'd love to have you hang out for just a couple more seconds with us and play the Military Minute.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I have no idea what that is, but okay.
Yeah.
It's we'll call it a trivia game. And we try to center it around our guests as they come on the show. Sometimes we just do pop culture, but on our last podcast, our question was about Colorado State University. So it would maybe be weird to me if you knew this, but super cool if you do. You're welcome to answer it. So what are the 3 former names of Colorado State University? And this was our question, I think, because our guest had attended Colorado State University.
He also gave us a perplexed look when we asked him, right?
Because this is not probably facts that people just carry around in their head.
Too. Yeah.
Any random guess?
Okay. Let me put my thinking cap on. Because you said it's a state university, right?
Colorado State University. What were the three former names?
Okay. And I'm going to go off of where
Google.
I used to be Commandant of Cadets, because they had like a similar name in their history, but they were an agriculture college.
Did you hear that?
So could it have been like Colorado Agriculture College or something like that?
That's one of the 3. That's super impressive.
You need to stop while you're ahead, Carmen, because it can only go downhill from here. But I give you a gold star for that, because that was
super impressive.
I never would have gotten there.
Actually thought through that. I just was like, I have no idea. Move on. Well done, you. Yeah. So that was.
I'm guessing.
No, that was right. So one of the 3 names was Colorado Agricultural College. The second name was Colorado State College of Agriculture and Mechanic Arts. A little more complicated. Which is probably why we went to a shorter name. And then the third one was Colorado Agricultural, that's hard to say, and Mechanical College. So
little nuance to the name.
Yeah, Colorado State University is super easy to
I know. CSU.
just lock in on that, right? So transitioning to this week's Military Minute, you can't answer this one, even if you know, because we're going to tee this one up for our audience. But, when this airs, it should be Month of the Military Child,
This was actually going to be during Month of the Military Child that I asked this question with Carmen.
So now it's just about Month of the Military Child.
Yeah, but you know what? The military child is 12 months out of the year. So
that is true.
It's a good question.
That is true. My children think it is 12 months out of the year.
Especially when they say, Mom, is my allowance here yet?
Yes. So in what year was the Month of the Military Child established and by whom? Don't answer. Don't answer, Tom. You know the answer because you looked it up. But if you are in our audience, you can answer when this podcast drops. Comment your best guess for when the month or the year of the Month of the Military Child was established and who established it. And if you are the correct answer provider, I was going to say answerer.
Answerer, I'm okay with that.
Answer provider.
Pass it.
And your name is drawn. You can win $50 for yourself and $50 for a charity of your choice. And if you happen to get all 3 names of Colorado State University correct after the last podcast, also watch for your name to be posted as the lucky winner of $50 for yourself and $50 for a charity of your choice.
If they did some sort of rational thinking like Carmen did, they probably would have been able to answer all 3 of those, right?
Or just said google.com or hey Siri, what was that would be super easy.
Like 10 years from now, people are going to say, what was Siri?
I know, right?
Yeah, it moves that fast. Yeah. That's why I'm glad she's doing broadband industry, because it's a lot.
Definitely.
Thank you, Carmen.
Yeah, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I don't want to leave. You made me feel so welcome.
Well,
Tom's going to say, well, I have that effect on people.
I do. I've got a couple pages of notes, Jodi.
Which is probably not a lie. Get home, Tom.
If you enjoyed today's episode, because Carmen could be here for another day or so with us, go out to afbank.com, subscribe to the show, rate us, leave us a comment about how you endured Jodi so much on your favorite podcast platform, such as Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. I really enjoy this time. Carmen, you made it fun.
Yes.
And
if Carmen wasn't here, I'd have left. What? Thank you. Thank you for being here. It was a pleasure to meet you.
You as well.
Well done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Copyright Armed Forces Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. All non-Armed Forces Bank owned apps, websites, company names, and product names are trademarks or registered trademarks of their respective owners. Their mention does not imply any affiliation with or endorsement by Armed Forces Bank of them or their products and services. They are merely used as examples of the many available apps, companies, and websites that offer similar services. Before using any app or website, you should carefully review the terms of use, data collection, and privacy policy. Apps may have an initial cost or in-application purchase features. This information is general in nature and is not intended to be legal, tax, or financial advice. Although Armed Forces Bank believes this information to be accurate, it cannot ensure that it could change. Statements or opinions of individuals referenced herein are their own, not Armed Forces Bank. Consult an appropriate professional concerning your specific situation and respective governing bodies for applicable laws, such as IRS.gov for current tax law. Armed Forces Bank, the Armed Forces Bank logo, and the Militarily Speaking logo are registered trademarks of Armed Forces Bank.